You know, gone are the days when the neighborhood kids would spend the evenings outside playing hopscotch and Red Rover. Back in my day, in the front room with the Lincoln Logs and the Tinker Toys. You remember that?
No, Jimmy, I'm not that old, actually. Well, fast forward to today, particularly today's technology. It has kids plopping down in front of screens for hours. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, children ages 8 to 18 spend 4.5 hours watching TV every day, an hour and a half on the computer, and over an hour playing video games.
And it's no wonder, considering more than 1 in 3 kids today have internet access and a computer in the bedroom. The foundation reports half have video game systems and more than 2 out of 3 have televisions.
But what about tablets? Well, these numbers may just shock you. According to research from Common Sense Media, 38% of children under age 2 use tablets or smartphones before they can even talk. That is up from 10% just 4 years ago.
Now, before you furrow your brow at the numbers, hold on just a minute.
Turns out it may not be as bad as you think.
Nicole Pano is a new mom to a 6-month-old baby girl, and she admits she constantly feels pressured.
Well, just to be Superwoman and to do it all.
So even though she says she feels guilty doing so, she allows her daughter limited screen time.
If I'm doing dishes and she's getting bored, or I'm trying to get something done for myself, which is so rare, I might put her for 15 or 20 minutes in front of a video on the iPad.
Right there.
Good job.
The American Academy of Pediatrics is now rethinking its guidelines for kids and screen time, including the old recommendations that children under 2 have 0 screen time, and those over 2 shouldn't watch more than 2 hours a day.
We're in a world where you really can't get away from media or technology. They're just ubiquitous, and they've become much more common in our children's lives than they were even just a few years ago.
The new pending AAP guidelines are expected to go easier on parents who do allow screen time. Erin Gentili has 2 kids and admits when her second came along, her rules changed.
Until she was 2, we pretty much no TV at all. But with him, it's like a whole different world. She watches her YouTube and he's just there and he loves it.
But the AAP cautions, don't just hand your child your cell phone. Set a timer and walk away. Content matters. Make sure that what they're watching is age appropriate and hopefully educational. And the AAP also cautions screens should never take the place of old-fashioned learning.
Sometimes turning on the television or giving them an iPad is the easiest thing to do, but it's not necessarily the best thing to do. Because if they sit down and they play a puzzle or they play with their Legos, they're really just becoming much more creative, and it's much more interactive than a screen can ever be.
Saying bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But this mom of 2 says she has no guilt about allowing her daughter the TV or the iPad every day.
And it's technology, it's everywhere. And my opinion, quite frankly, the sooner they start, the better.
Now, no matter where you stand on the debate, there's no denying technology can help when it comes to teaching our kids.
And man, they learn so much, especially in that first year. Experts at WebMD say during the first 3 months of life, an infant smiles, opens and shuts their hands, and tracks objects with their eyes. At 4 to 6 months, babies' hands hang onto objects. The child laughs, babbles, sits up with more control.
WebMD says from 7 to 9 months, the fun really kicks into high gear with crawling. The baby can also sit without support and respond to his or her name. And then rounding out baby's first year, he or she will likely feed himself, point at objects, and start taking their first steps. But what if baby was able to learn these monthly milestones a lot earlier than we expect them to?
A new study and some sticky mittens are proving that very well may be the case.
With a smile and a wave, 4-month-old Jonah Beck is lending a hand to scientific research. Well, 2 hands, actually. It's a wide receiver's dream. Jonah's hands and toy are covered in Velcro.
She definitely got that experience of going, look, I can pick up something that I couldn't pick up before.
From 0 to 5 months old, infants lack the coordination to grab and pick up objects, but it's a different story with sticky mittens.
It's setting into motion new processes, new opportunities for learning that babies then take advantage of.
There it is.
Professor Amy Needham headed up the first study of 32 3-month-olds. Those playing with sticky mittens every day for 2 weeks showed a developmental edge over those who didn't.
Now she's reaching for objects and putting them in her mouth and banging them on the table.
The babies with the sticky mittens experience show more looking at objects, more reaching for objects, more mouthing of objects.
Their social development was better. They paid more attention to people's faces. This study shows parents should encourage babies' motor development because they're ready to learn long before they develop the coordination to try, and long before we think they are.
One of Amy's former students is now studying infants at risk for autism to see if they might benefit from motor training as young as 3 months.
Wow. Well, since we're talking about teaching kids, who better to ask what techniques work than the kids themselves? That's the concept some schools are putting into play, and playing is a big part of it.
Can you put two together to make a pattern?
There are limitless ways to learn. And at this age, you're always learning.
Good job.
Even when you don't realize it.
We feel like the best way for children to learn is through learning through play. They're going to learn different things, really grow and adapt to 21st century learning.
What is happening?
This may look and sound like play.
There you go.
And it is.
I got the greeny thingy. Yeah. Whoa.
But the little minds here are being molded by toys.
The best way to figure out if a toy is going to work for kids is to ask the kids.
Children at this age, they always have to, their mind, they're like sponges. They absorb so much, and they always have to keep them busy. So the fact that they're teaching them not only with, you know, regular pencils and pens and writing, doing math like that, playing with toys, I think it's excellent.
Some toys are tougher than others, but all have a purpose.
Just special, and on Friday we get to vote. Which toy is the best?
There are 50 schools across the country testing toys by playing with them and using them as their educational tools. They say it's a good way for kids to use their motor skills and imaginations. The kids then get to vote which ones they like the best, and then the toy companies across the country will use that information to make new educational toys for next year.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. And you know, back in the day, Jimmy, long before you were playing with your Tinker toys and your Lincoln Logs, America was at war. Still ahead on Delmarva Life, we're getting a rare look at World War II through the lens of a Talbot County man. Find out how he was able to get so many iconic figures on film, plus how you can see the pictures too.
Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.